Hi everybody and welcome back, and welcome to our second to last lecture for the semester. This week we're turning our attention to developmental and life course theories to try and find an explanation for why some individuals stop committing crime in the early part of their lives and why others choose to keep committing crime long after their young adulthood ends. Lifecourse criminology is somewhat of a new theoretical development, and it focuses on how an individual's life is determined through the occurrence of certain life events. The life course perspective can best be conceptualized as viewing life events in the context of life stages, turning points, and pathways, all of which are embedded in social institutions. The most important part of the life course perspective are two main concepts: trajectories and transitions. A trajectory is a pathway over the life course which involves long-term patterns of events, such as employment and family history. A transition, in contrast, involves very short-term events, or turning points that make up specific life changes, such as marriage, divorce, or parenthood. The short-term transitions play an important part in the development of the trajectory and play a huge role in how one develops into adulthood. Therefore, experience in childhood affect events in adolescence and adulthood, just as events in adolescence or adulthood can modify future trajectories. For the most part, criminological theories, the ones that we have explored this semester, focus on how people got started in engaging in criminal behavior. But what they haven't focused on is the reasons why individuals choose to stop engaging in criminal behavior. Desistance from crime is an area that has been historically been ignored in criminology. Researchers have built on various propositions of past non-developmental theories to advance their own life course arguments. Life course theory expands the notion of social control, social learning, strain, symbolic interactionism, and labeling theories. But there's clearly just not one theory out there that can be considered the true life course theory of crime, nor is there any consensus on how the life course relates to crime. It is understood, however, that the exploration of change is important for the study of criminal behavior over the life course. The difficult part of establishing a life course criminology is being able to follow participants over the course of their lives to be able to determine when desistance begins. Sampson and Laub did just that in the development of their social control over the life course model. Their age-graded theory is based on social control theory, which argues that crime and delinquency occur as a result of weakened bonds to society. Individuals are assumed to be deviant unless social bonds exist to restrain these impulses. Therefore, those who have not developed important bonds to specific social institutions are more likely to participate in criminal behavior. Although social control theory has been an enduring theory in criminology, it does not explain informal social control at ages other than adolescence, nor does it account for the possibility of variation in controls over the life course. Sampson and Laub's age-graded theory of social control accounts for these shortcomings. Sampson and Laub extend social control theory by suggesting that the ability of certain institutions to control criminal or conforming behavior is dependent on age-graded variability. Sampson and Laub find strong evidence for the possibility of behavioral changes at different points in the life course. Therefore, although delinquent behavior exists with much continuity, they assert that social bonds in adulthood, including school, family, peers, and community relations, can explain changes such as dissidence in criminal behavior. Central to this thesis are two integrated components that are crucial to understanding changes in adulthood. The first is social capital. Sampson and Laub argue that it is the social capital or the resources that are gained from quality social relationships, rather than the mere occurrence of the bond, that determines the impact and the strength of informal social controls. The second key component is the turning point. A turning point or transition can be precipitated by various events and can redirect paths, subsequently modifying future outcomes. Responses to life events will vary from individual to individual, often leading to different trajectories. researchers suggest that in order to understand crime in the life course, it is essential to learn about turning points. Local life circumstances, including marriage, meaningful work, and serving in the military, have been deemed positive turning points. Conversely, prolonged incarceration, heavy drinking, and subsequent job instability have all been identified as negative turning points. The big hurdle to explaining things from a life course perspective is age. One of the most well-established assertions in criminology is that of the relationship between crime and age, in which developmentally oriented researchers attempt to explain how crime unfolds across the life course. From this impetus, the criminal career paradigm was developed, later setting the inspiration for developmental and life course criminology. The aim of this framework is to explain offending by individuals through the analysis of the impact of different events at different stages of life as antisocial behavior develops. So everything that we just discussed in terms of turning points and subsequent trajectories is largely dependent on the age at which these events occur. Using age as the cornerstone of her theory, Terry Moffat has constructed a developmental taxonomy, sustaining the existence of two qualitatively different groups of individuals that, quote, are each in need of its own distinct theoretical explanation. So, Terry Moffat proposes an adolescence-limited group of offenders and a life course persistent one. These would emerge from the distinction between temporary and persistent antisocial behavior. Life course persistent offenders are characterized by continuity in their antisocial behavior, which starts from an early age and persists through the lifespan. Their actions include a wide variety of antisocial and criminal behaviors and assumes the continuity of an underlying trait or genotype that would be accountable for different behavioral manifestations. According to Moffat, persistent offending is explained by neuropsychological difficulties that exist during childhood and which interact with criminogenic environments. On the other hand, adolescent-limited offenders are characterized by the absence of a past history of antisocial behavior and, therefore, by the reduced likelihood of adopting that kind of behavior in the future. Unlike life course persistent offenders, discontinuity is the hallmark of these late onsetters whose short criminal careers are limited to adolescence and desist before adulthood begins. Even with adolescent-limited offenders, criminal careers can extend into the early 20s according to the age crime curve. Typically, we see a large drop-off in crimes being committed after the age of 25 years old. One of the reasons for this drop-off is that we see individuals desisting from crime as they progress into more adult roles. Since their motivation for criminality decreases and delinquency is no longer seen as rewarding as other alternatives such as those that are achieved through legitimate means. Adolescence-limited offending is not, consequently, pathological, but rather flexible in nature, adaptive, and transitional. Really, what most of the life course criminological field can agree on is the idea that the majority of juvenile and adolescent offenders never make the progressive leap into adulthood offending, and that desistance is a real thing for many. What we find exciting as younger individuals doesn't often excite us as much as we enter older adulthood. Even legitimate opportunities aren't as exciting anymore. For instance, 21-year-old me was very willing to go have a night on the town with my girlfriends every now and then. In my 30s, I am more than happy to stay at home with my boyfriend and watch weird movies on Netflix. I work too hard and I'm too tired to go out all the time anymore. I'm just getting old, people. The same goes for criminal behavior. There's a lot more to lose the older that we get. We have homes, jobs, mortgages, car payments, children who are looking up to us. It's not worth it anymore to keep screwing around and engaging in criminal behavior. So many of us desist because of that transition into adulthood that the majority of us go through. Life course criminology has to study participants through longitudinal means, so it's often difficult for researchers to complete this type of research. Participants fall out of the study, so attrition is often a big concern. I told you at the beginning of the lecture that life course criminology is a new and blossoming field of study within the discipline, and it is largely for that reason that we just don't know as much as we want at this point. The data are slow in coming, and already a lot of research has been conducted on this topic. However, we need to learn more and figure out some of the additional reasons why individuals choose to end their criminal careers and why others decide that they're going to keep on trucking. Next week, we're going to focus on the concept of integrated theories for our very last lecture of the semester. Meet me back here one last final time, you can do it, as we try to figure out why we need to create integrative theories when we already have so many strong general theories of crime that are already useful to us. So thank you for your time and attention. Please let me know if you guys have any questions at all, and if not, then I will see you next week for our very last lecture of the semester. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.